Welcome back to part 2. Now, I am getting messages from people claiming that they are not receiving notifications for part 1. If that is you and this is what is happening, don't bother with YouTube. They won't help you. That's pretty obvious. Just please go to my channel and watch part 1 first, okay? That way you're more in tune with what's happening. So just go to my channel and watch part 1. And now here we go with part 2. Let's go. We just left off from part 1 where it was blatantly pointed out that Harry and Meghan really didn't want a private life. Now, of course, while all this is going on, remember, Harry, I think, thought that William was going to be in New York for the Earthshot Prize, get-together talk that they were having, but come to find out he was never supposed to be there. But so now Harry is going, and we also know that William just brought the World Central Kitchen Jose Andres on as part of his Earthshot Prize Council. Well, we were also told that Harry will be speaking at the Clinton Global Initiative in New York on September 22nd and 23rd. Obviously, I'm not surprised by that because we know that Harry and Meghan, when they were in New York a few years ago, met up with Chelsea Clinton, one of the most white privileged women on the planet, I might add, who started making a salary of $1 million a year because she's working with her mother, to talk to Harry and Meghan about vaccine equity, which takes us back, of course, to Harry and Meghan. We've already discussed this before, but I'm going to point it out again. They're constantly taking credit for everything that everybody else does. I'm just throwing this little bit in there. We all remember they went to the Vaccine Equity, Vaccine Live in Central Park, and they stood up there, and she in this really short, tight dress. And then their impact report came out. And in the impact report, Harry and Meghan in the report take full credit for procuring 12.66 million vaccines. Well, let me tell you, Omid Scobie came out and put up this tweet about their impact report and how they helped raise and distribute all of this stuff. And the response to that was that the Vaccine Live person came out and said, thank you for partnering with us, but you're not the only one responsible for coming up with these vaccines. And you haven't heard a word about Global Citizens since then, because I think Global Citizens realized that this was not a good partnership. Well, this is no different than the World Kitchen, which I told you about the other day. Once again, in their impact report, they claim that 50,000 meals were served. But what did they do? They donated some money and they walked away, and they've done nothing with World Central Kitchen since then. They didn't say anything when it came out that World Central Kitchen, one of the chefs, had been accused of, a sexual misconduct. They said nothing. When the aid workers were killed, they said nothing. We've already discussed all this in a previous video. But what they're trying to do now is say that Harry is pairing up with people like Matt Damon. The reason Matt Damon is there is because he co-founded water.org, and he's going to discuss the status of the $1 billion plan that he announced in 2022 to give 100 million people in Africa, Asia, and Latin America lasting access to water and sanitation. That has nothing to do with Harry. He just happens to be there. Matt Damon just happens to be there. And Jose Andres is expected to discuss how World Central Kitchen is one of the fastest growing humanitarian nonprofits, with the focus, of course, on feeding people quickly in the aftermath or a disaster. But of course, you've heard nothing else about World Central Kitchen and Harry and Meghan since they gave that initial donation and tried to take credit for this man's work. Now, of course, he's paired up with William, so I can just imagine how this is going to go. No other leaders that are going to be speaking are the Emerson Collective founder, Laureen Powell-Jobs, Ford Foundation President Darren Walker, Hispanic Federation CEO Frankie Miranda. There's lots of other big-name people that are going to be there. International Rescue Committee CEO David Miliband, World Health Organization Director Tedros, I can't even pronounce his last name, but the point is there's a lot of people speaking. They're making a big deal about Harry being there, but Harry's just one of a group of people. It's not that special. Now, I want to touch on one other thing. I told you guys that William and Harry were both at the memorial service for the uncle, and everybody keeps saying they were reunited. They were not reunited. They simply both went to the same memorial service. Prince Harry apparently is trying to force William into speaking to him. Like I said, he's going to go to New York, but it turns out he's not going to be there. William's not going to be there. So instead, Harry flew over for this memorial service. Well, let me tell you, William can't speak publicly, but some of his friends did, and they were the ones who said that Harry sounds like a freaking broken record, which I completely agree. The man needs to just stop. All these stories that are coming out, he wants to go home, so Harry put out into the public realm that he's perfectly happy with his life, but yet he's open to taking up a temporary role in the family to help out if asked, but he's only going to do it if the king asks him and if William apologizes, and that, my friends, is why he will never return. And while Harry is insisting that he's perfectly happy with his life in the United States and he doesn't want to return, stories like this, where there's smoke, there's fire. We do know that Harry and Meghan hired a UK PR expert, and I believe they did that because he's trying to rehabilitate himself to the UK people so that he can make his return into the firm. Why else would he need a UK person to help with his image? You know, victimhood has been very lucrative for him, but it's not going to work in the UK. Well, they've overlooked, they're saying, 2 problems as to why the brothers will never get back together. And they are likening it to 2 brothers, Noel Gallagher and his brother Liam, who apparently insulted each other back and forth for years. But they're managed to put their differences aside to come back together, but that's for money. So you've got 2 issues with them. First issue is Meghan Markle, who publicly claimed that Catherine made her cry, accused unnamed royals of being racist, and supposedly it's Catherine and the king per Omid Scobie. And the second issue is that William, just like Catherine, will not join the mudslinging match. William has kept his peace. He's remained, as Meghan would say, in silent dignity for years and has said absolutely nothing. William apparently said that there's only one member of the family who he's keen to see return to public engagements, and that would be his wife, Catherine. I agree. As long as Harry's married to Meghan, forget it. All right, and I want to end with this blind item that came out that basically said that Harry is going to be giving a speech, and he's hired somebody, a former presidential speechwriter, I think it is, to write his speech. And he's paying the speechwriter more money than he's making. But here's the interesting thing. The discussion of where he's giving this speech is that it may be with the Democrats in politics, which is something he's not supposed to be doing. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, put your comments down, and then go down into the description box. You're going to follow me on to video number 3, our palette cleanser, so that you'll have a good weekend. Let's go.